What's going on, Scaling the Wall listeners? Something awesome is going on at FifthWall Solutions, and they make this whole podcast possible. If you haven't yet seen the news, FifthWall recently closed on a Series A funding round. Alongside this, the company has brought on some fantastic new employees at the executive level, and we want you to hear from them. Because not only do they have proven track records of success, but they have a deep appreciation for MSPs and the work you do. So this episode is going to be different than what you're used to, but only a little. We're going into the minds of what drive the new execs at FifthWall and why they are excited about where things are going. I am pumped to share these special episodes with you, and I hope they give you just a little bit of insight into how cyber insurance is going to be a major player in helping MSP partners across the globe scale the wall of cybersecurity. Let's get rolling. I know who you are. People at FifthWall know who you are, and maybe some of our partners know who you are, but who are you? What's kind of this background? You came out of nowhere, it seems like. FifthWall all of a sudden says, hey, we're going to start working with Cole. Let's give him a chance to kind of figure out who this Cole guy is, have a conversation about it. So what's kind of your backstory?
Yeah, most of the people that have worked with me on the channel know that I'm usually working on some pretty meaty opportunities for PAX 8. So I haven't spent a lot of time at events. I have traveled a lot on, partner business, working with partners and stuff like that. But most of my business has been working on new routes to market, new geographies, acquisitions. So yeah, I've definitely been behind the scenes a lot more in my time at PAX 8, and excited to bring a lot of that knowledge about scale and growth and expansion into FifthWall with the way we're building the team and where we're going to take the business from here.
Yeah, can we talk about growth and expansion a little bit? Because you, if I remember correctly, you helped to build PAX 8 Europe, like make it a thing.
Yeah.
That's no small task, and you're going from creating an entire wing of a distributor on another continent to, hey, I'm interested in cyber insurance. So what was like that thing that went off in your head where you said, I want to pursue this cyber insurance?
It's a big curve jump there.
It is.
But I'll just kind of like talk about my background. And,
oh yeah, I forgot to ask that question.
We can flow through that. Well, it's the background kind of bridges.
Yeah. I think it'd be helpful.
My role as vice president international was just to figure out where we should evangelize the marketplace and where we should build that route to market for PAX 8, which took me to Europe. After a few years of operating and growing Europe to about 125 million annually, I came back to lead strategy globally. So basically, some of the things we've done in Europe need to be scaled out. Wanted to come back and help with all the regions, help with some of the corporate initiatives. One of those things was cyber insurance, among other what I would call Horizon 3 type of strategies. Horizon 3 being like, it's not who we do it with and it's not where we do it, right? It's new constituents, new products, new everything. Really progressive changes. Cyber insurance was one of those. Cyber insurance, as one of those routes to market, became more appealing as we looked. And initially there was skepticism, like, why would a marketplace be interested in this, and why would we be looking at this? But obviously, it was important for PAX 8 to consider how we represented our ecosystem. We've always prided ourselves on being great representatives of the MSP voice. And so it was important for us to be, really diligent about this. And once we met FifthWall, it all started to click in place. FifthWall had built a great route to market through the MSP community, figured out how to leverage the risk advisor, and an opportunity to disrupt. And so there was synergy there from day one. And there's going to be a tight relationship still with PAX 8, but we wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure that we could get into a business and grow really quickly.
Yeah. So a lot about PAX 8 there, but take it down to the Cole Knuth level. What about cyber insurance intrigued you enough to say, hey, I want to put my eggs in the FifthWall basket?
Yeah.
So like you're going from the strategic level of, hey, one of the components I'm focusing on is cyber insurance to I'm wholly focusing on this now. What do you see like in the future that excites you enough that you'd want to do that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you give me some credit, like this premeditated. I think it was I think it was purely opportunistic, like stage by stage. It's like I knew that FifthWall needed an opportunity to grow, right? So it's like, okay, we should figure out investment. I knew I wanted PAX 8 to be a part of it. So it's like, all right, let's figure out for PAX 8 to influence that investment. right? So it like little by little, and this is how the international expansion went, right? It was like we knew we wanted to expand. It's like, all right, well, let's get one employee and put them in a department. And it was like, all right, let's get the board to approve a little bit of a budget. And you just kind of like you just keep showing up to that next like milestone. And that's kind of how it went through this whole thing. And so, once we kind of got to this crossroads, we're like, okay, this is not something where we should just lightly invest in a cyber insurance company. This is something that should actually scale. It has the opportunity to be a really disruptive and very successful organization. That was when my mindset shifted. Once I heard, from investors, and once we, had flushed out the business case enough, I could see that this was an incredibly huge opportunity. And actually, my colleague Gene Stevens, who's coming in as CTO, we talked about like, how big the industry problem is. And that's what got us both excited about going on that journey together, because, you want to do something that is, has impact. But like a lot of people go for the trendy stuff. They go for the stuff that's, on the front page of every, news website. It's always trending in the tech side. This is a really meaty, object that I think a lot of people are avoiding, and we are going to approach it differently. It gives us a chance to really disrupt, and disruption's fun.
It's true.
Disruption helps people.
Yeah, disruption is a great phrase. I think we've talked about that a couple of times, and something that I've observed and I appreciate is so many of the, I'll call it insurtech because we're kind of moving in that direction, right? So one of the things that I've always observed is the insurtech companies are always kind of being started by the insurance people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges is the communication between insurance and MSPs right now.
Yeah.
So to have people who are coming from places that, hey, we've just spent the past, I mean, how long have you been in the field, the MSP
7 years.
world? 7 years. So I just spent 7 years building a company that focuses exclusively on MSPs and helping them succeed. Now you're coming in with a new lens combined with the insurance lens, and it's going to provide a lot of opportunity, which I think is fantastic. I want to... No, go ahead.
Well, so like to kind of combine that statement with the question you asked, like one of the things I've repeated a lot is that there's a huge chasm that has to be crossed, and it's this MSP ISV side of the market, and it's the supplier side, the carrier side. The opportunity to connect those two is what's needed. It's the disruptions in representing the products which mitigate risk, and the money that backs risk or underwrites risk.
Sure.
So that was definitely an epiphany where it's like, this market, needs disruption in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Because I think that's exactly what you're getting at. It's like a lot of, you have cybersecurity companies that build products that have things that are going to help mitigate risk. You have insurance companies that want to have more accuracy and certainty with their underwriting of risk. And so they both have tools, but what's needed is this middle ground.
The tools don't communicate.
Yeah. At default, they're both incentivized to provide value for the shareholders.
Yep.
The shareholders aren't interested in helping each other.
No, they want their company.
They want their company to be successful, and so that's where you see the priorities play out.
That's where you see a lot of these insurance companies developing maybe their own agent that they can install on an insured system that says, "Hey, we'll scan your network."
Yeah.
The problem I've run into, and I was talking to a MSP about this just the other day, is you have this insurance carrier and now this insurance carrier and now these other 5 insurance carriers saying, we all have our own agent now that you can install on your system. Well, in the world of cyber, you're not even necessarily sticking with the same insurance company every year.
It's the dog wagging its own tail.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate what the insurance companies are trying to do, but it is in a bubble. You're asking that customer that's already buying something to do something that confirms what you already know. It's an echo chamber, and that's not going to disintermediate the industry. What really needs to for disruption is you've got to go industry wide data, right? You've got to process and take a fragmented process, build it into streamlined quality delivery of data and index.
Yeah. So just to backtrack a little bit here, because we talked about kind of the future with FifthWall and insurance and everything that you're excited about for the future. But let's go back to like Cole Knuth pre-PAX world. How did you get to the place where you say, hey, I want to live in the cybersecurity world? I've learned a little bit about your story in the past. I think it's really interesting, and I think it's helpful for people to. Yeah.
I sold light bulbs. It was a little bit better than that. I sold all electrical products. I did industrial electrical supply, so was an electrical wholesaler. I spent about a year applying to tech companies. And anybody who runs a tech company, like, don't look for tech experience. There are so many great people that want to get into the technology space that aren't given an opportunity. So I looked forever, and nobody would give me the time of day. Prior to Pax8, I was running a $30 million electrical distributor, had 25 employees. Like, it was a successful business, but I saw a lot of limitations in that industry. Blue collar industry was a lot less upside. And so I wanted to get into tech, and I looked for a long time. And luckily, I had a connection to Pax8. I was hired in as employee 108. So just after we crossed 100 employees.
You were the employee who had to change all the light bulbs because
Yeah.
of your experience.
Yeah. Well, I definitely commented on the lights a few times. I was like, we could upgrade those to LED and save a lot of money. But yeah, that was my curb jump, is like, just going into the tech space, getting that first opportunity. And honestly, the relationship with Pexi was incredible for me because I was familiar with a second tier sales model. Because in the electrical industry, you don't sell to the person who's using the product, you sell to the person who's installing or building the product. And so it was very natural for me to understand the MSP space. And I understood the distribution model. I had a master's degree or a graduate degree in distribution, industrial engineering and industrial distribution. And so it was a perfect alignment for me to bring some things to the table. And it was an incredible run. I don't know how many it is, but if I counted individual jobs, I probably had 13 at Pax8 over a 7-year period. It was like there were so many different opportunities, and I never bumped into that proverbial glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And now to be able to take all that experience and all the wisdom I have from the way we grew Pax8, and then the things I actually experienced and did, to be able to bring that over to FifthWall is incredible timing.
Yeah, I know that life of wanting to break into the tech world, and it's hard to do because again, it's weird. You have this mindset where like, this is where I want to be, and you need to wait for that like one golden opportunity to present itself. So I think it's fantastic. Anything, like one last thought you'd want to give about the future of FifthWall, what you're really excited about moving forward? Anything, one thing in particular, or words of wisdom from Cole?
I think what's going to be really disruptive is we are going to be an insure tech, but it's an MSP insure tech. That is the opportunity for disruption. We want the MSPs to maintain the strategic advisor to the client. We want to make sure that they have that access through the entire supply chain, quote to cash the whole time. The MSPs need to be advising the SMB market, and as cyber insurance policies become more prevalent, probably even required, we want to make sure the SMBs in our ecosystem are delivered the right kind of value by our MSPs.
Yeah, I'm really excited for where this is going. I think MSPs are really going to benefit from this direction. Cole, thanks for taking some time to sit down and talk about this. Where can people connect with you more if they want to?
You can go to my LinkedIn. Yep, just
very active on there.
Yeah, we'll drop the link below.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
good stuff.